So Austin died on June 17th, 2006. Erica, that was our circumstance. Yet we were so broken. And you and I didn't really understand circumstances versus thought at that moment that we dove right into the circumstance and started making it all about what was happening. So I want to break this down for our friends so that they understand that circumstance was the worst circumstance in the world that day. It was the worst, unbelievable circumstance. Yet you and I had a ton of thoughts about that. And our thoughts is what was driving our grief. It was driving our healing. It was driving the way we went. So my thought, and I talk about this all the time, as I was walking up the stairs to tell you that we had gotten the call that Austin had drowned, the thoughts that were going through my head were, I've never even used the word grief. I don't know how to do this. One of the other things that came along with, I don't know how to do this, was how am I going to fix her? How can I help her? I felt this overwhelming urge to make things right for you. And the truth was, there wasn't one damn thing I could have done standing at that door to fix you, telling you that Austin had drowned. The only thing that I could have done was be your support.
Right. And that is what people miss. And they don't we're not taught this, so we don't see it in this way. We think the circumstance, so Austin drowning, is the thing that is making you lose your mind. But
Yeah,
it's not. It's the thoughts that come as the aftermath from the circumstance. It's, I'll never get over
yeah,
this. I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do this.
yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
F
It,
this.
life isn't fair. Yeah, capital F. uh, life isn't fair, and then those thoughts send you spiraling into the grief tornado.
Into the grief emotions, right? The grief
Yeah,
tornado
yeah,
is the emotions that start to spin all around you.
yes,
Do
yes.
you remember your thought when I knocked on the door?
I before I open the door,
Yeah.
I feel like I naively thought everything was going to be okay because I felt blindsided when you said the words. So I naively, in my little Pollyanna world, it's all going to be okay. They're going to find. They found it.
A lot of the thoughts are the things that people tell us also. And hear me out on this. It's the thoughts that people think they believe to be true, they believe to be the grieving way. It's like, um, you'll never get over the loss of a child. That's a thought. And the other thing that happens is when you heard that, when people were saying that, oh, you're never gonna get over this. What emotion came up for you?
It's like a desperation because
Yeah,
it's like you know how bad it feels, and then it's like a life sentence. Like I've been sentenced to something for life. Like because I'm like I don't want to feel this for the rest of my life.
yeah.
This is the worst feeling imaginable. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I don't want to be like this forever.
The other thing is you can get stuck in a thought in I just want him back. I
Oh
just
yeah,
want him back. And when you're in the I just want him back, you're telling yourself that. And a lot of times we find with our clients, the I just want him back, I just want her back, they're not sharing that with anybody.
no,
And sometimes that thought is not running in the forefront of their mind. So let's just work through that thought. I just want him back. It makes you feel lonely, sad, angry, pissed off,
yeah.
pissed off. It freezes you in time, right? It completely freezes you in time. So I just want him back.
And you know it's not possible, but you're so desperate for the relief from the pain. And you do, it's the longing, the
Yeah.
intense longing that's right after. It's so overpowering that that thought does consume you, but you don't speak it out loud because you think people are going to think you're crazy. Like you can't get them back. Like from their perspective, it's done. You need to start moving on and picking up the pieces. But from the new fresh grievers perspective, I just, it's like a need. It's like you just need it so much because it's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so heartbreaking. And the thought to go down there. So one of the things that we teach is that a lot of times grievers get stuck in those thoughts. And we don't, the thoughts are in our brain, the thoughts are in our head. You and I don't work on that. We're not psychologists, we're not psychiatrists, we're not therapists, we're not in the brain. You've got to drop down into that heart. So when you think the thought, I just want him back, you can ask yourself that question. I just want him back. What are you feeling? What do I feel? I
Right.
feel lonely. I feel sad. That's where the grief is. That's where you and I go after. No, sister, when you say, I just want him back, tell me what that feels like. Describe
Mm.
it to me.
Well, because the feelings are so negative, and we're pretty much programmed not to live in the negative. Oh, don't be so negative. You need to think positive about this, or
Yeah.
all that. Everyone wants to put their little ray of sunshine on it, but when it comes to grief, you
Yeah.
can't put the ray of sunshine. You really got to dwell and speak the negative out loud so you can start moving through it.
So, okay. So then the next thing that happens is everyone around us speaks in thoughts.
Yeah.
All the advice they're giving us, they're like, I'm not going anywhere near her heart because if I say something emotional or something about her pain, she's going to start crying. Then I'm going to start crying. Then we're going to have a moment, or she's going to start crying and I really don't want to upset her. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier. I'm going to say the things that go just to her thought. Oh, sister girl, you just give it time. I know in time, you're going to feel better. Your heart's going to feel better. And in time, you're going to wake up and a day will be anew. That was my Shakespeare.
Everyone wants to sprinkle their ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
But that's true. It's so common and it's so sad that people don't understand. They go in with the thought, I don't want to make her feel bad. I don't want to make her cry. She's already feeling bad. I already feel bad. Be in the moment with the griever.
Yeah.
Just sit with them. You
Yeah.
don't have to say any words.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything because there's nothing that's going to pull them out of the emotional pain that they're in.
Right.
So just be a supportive person.
There are no words.
No,
What was the one thing that I could have said to you at that door that day?
absolutely nothing. Or they found him and meant it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So let's go back to the circumstance. The circumstance, this is the best way that I can describe it. The circumstance is always true. The circumstance will hold up in a court of law. If you go to a judge and you say, Judge, Austin drowned on June 17th, the judge will put a stamp of approval and say, yes, that's true. The circumstance usually is just one or two words. Austin drowned. Everything that happened after that was our thoughts and our emotions. And if we don't show this to grievers, because so many times grievers come and they're completely stuck in their thoughts, or you and I tell them they're stuck in their head, get out of your head. That's something they have to learn. That's what they have to be taught. We have to show them their brain in order for that to pull them out of that brain. One of the other things that happens real quick, Erica, is that we tell ourselves thoughts. Girl, I'm just going to keep busy. I'm going back to work. And if I can keep busy, I can keep away from this pain. And that never works.
It doesn't. And we definitely tell ourselves way, way too many non-helpful thoughts. So, I mean, it's like the experience when you're driving, that's when they get you the most. Like for me, that's when the thoughts just run amok. Because you can have a thought at the beginning of your journey, and by the time you get to your destination, you are spinning out of control
Yeah.
because you've had one thought and then it's got another thought, and then you start feeling. We just had this experience with a client where she had an experience, didn't make a connection on the experience, and had all these thoughts, and by the time she got home and sat on her couch, she was full of anxiety
Yeah.
because of what she had experienced and her circumstance and all her thoughts that followed it. And so the first thing you said to her was, take me back to what happened. And the minute she walked it through, she was able to identify it. But a lot of people, that's what you need. You almost need somebody to help you break it down piece by piece so that
Yeah.
you can look at it. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about one of the exercises we do with our clients is you give them a worksheet and it says, pick out the circumstance, or is this a circumstance or a thought? They're not very good at it.
We weren't very good at it. Sometimes we'd be like, I don't know, I can't tell until you really figure out what those thoughts are. And the truth is, we have 40,000 thoughts a day. You definitely have 40,000 thoughts a day about Austin drowning.
Mhm.
I can't even imagine. Was it scary? Was he painful? Those are all thoughts, right? Thinking the
Right.
thought, was he scared? You know, it just thinking that thought makes your heart beat
It
fast.
does.
It makes you freak out. It makes you scared. And then the emotions of what comes with that is the grief. I'm scared for him. Oh my gosh, the thought of my baby, all of those things, right?
Mhm.
40,000 thoughts a day that always don't run in the forefront of our mind. Sometimes they whisper. And this is the other thing that we teach. Grief thoughts whisper. They're not really loud. You and I got up today and we're like, okay, we have to start our podcast at 7 a.m. Then I text you, hey, I need till 7:30. And I was like, okay, I got to do my hair and I got to get dressed and I'm going to put on lipstick. Those are all thoughts that I was thinking. Grief thoughts are, I miss him. They whisper. You don't hear them. You don't hear them really loud. But that thought runs through your mind in a whisper. And then your heart reacts to that thought. It grabs that one thought and it starts to beat fast. You didn't realize you even thought that thought. Your heart starts beating really fast. Now all of a sudden you feel down, you start feeling sad, you start feeling lonely, and you don't even know what happened. You're like, I'm getting ready for a podcast. I'm putting on lipstick. Why do I feel this way? It's
Yep.
because that little tiny whisper came through and you didn't even recognize it.
Yeah. In the beginning, you know, the one that just whispered the most was, I should have been there.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, how could I not think that?
Yeah.
And not that I feel as though the circumstance would have been different, because I definitely believe everyone has got their born date and their death date, the day you come into this world. I believe that. So I know that was his date. He was already determined, but I could have had those last moments, you know?
Yeah.
But then also being on the side of not having been there, I'm so grateful I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't know if my healing journey would have been the way it went had I been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm in the beginning, that was the whisper, but having walked our journey and done the work, I'm thankful I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Same with Donovan. I am very thankful I wasn't here for the police to come knocking on my door. I feel like those two experiences would have been so, my healing experience would have been so vastly different had I had that. So I don't know what whispers would have come from that. So I'm glad I'm glad it worked out the way that it did. But in the beginning, definitely that was what I kept thinking.
So knowing that this is a learned um, technique of what is a thought and what is an emotion, most times when we get with our clients, they're all in their head.
Yes.
Grief is 100% in your head in the beginning because your brain is trying to protect you and keep you away from the pain. Your brain, my friends, perceives grief as danger. It's as if you walked out into your yard and a black bear was there and he started to chase you. How fast would your heart beat? How fast would you run? How fast would your brain tell you to get out of there? How fast would the brain be looking for the next tree that you could climb up? Which I don't know that that would protect you. I'm just throwing that out. But all of that stuff would start happening because your brain's trying to get you away. It perceived your grief when I came to the door and I said, I'm so sorry, honey. we found him. I'm so sorry, honey. He drowned. What was the first thing you did?
I started running and screaming.
You took off running and screaming. Your brain tried to protect you from the message that you were hearing. And
Yeah.
most grievers, it's that way.
Well, we are designed to seek pleasure,
Yeah.
not designed to seek pain.
Yeah.
You're taught to, that's why it's called fight or flight. Like you, you know, we are designed. So I don't know if you remember this from, I don't know when it happened, like I want to say the 70s, but they did all those, and I don't condone animal testing, but all those tests on rats, they would give them the little wiring that when they hit the pedal, it was similar to like an extreme pleasurable experience. So let's say the big O.
Right.
So they would stand there and hit that pedal and keep getting that good feeling and not eat or drink, and they'd ultimately die.
Yeah.
That's what we want, the good. Give us the good feels.
Yeah.
Save us from the bad stuff. No one wants to feel the pain. No one.
No.
But it is a fact of our life. We have to feel the pain.
We have to feel the grieving pain. So that was a perfect example. So you take off running and you're screaming and Tony grabs you. That's what really stops you. The truth is, had I known it, right there, I could have said, what are you feeling? And started talking in emotions. We need to talk in emotions.
Yeah.
That's the key of what we're missing in this society. We don't talk in emotion.
We don't. We ask people, well, how are you feeling? And then they say, I think, and you go, that's not a feeling.
Yeah.
When we think on the list of emotions.
So let's start with that. When you start a sentence with I think or I feel, and it's followed by a long sentence, I feel like he should still be here. That's a thought. When you start a sentence with I feel, if it doesn't follow an emotional word, the other thing that is also helpful, you and I keep it to 5 simple emotions. So they don't have to go to the 250,000 emotions we give them, right? Mad, sad, glad, afraid, embarrassed. They're simple emotions. You can teach them to your children. You can use them. You can talk about them. Because from here, and these 5 simple emotions, you can spread out into, I'm lonely. I feel broken. I feel tired. I'm angry. Mad can go into angry, right? All of the emotions you can break out into, but you can just stick in those 5 emotions. You and I do something called an emotional check-in every time we get on with our clients. Talk a little bit more about that and how much.
Well, I mean, it's great because we got it. When everyone comes to the Zoom, first of all, you're freaking out about whether or not you're going to get the connection right. Because if you're not, familiar with Zoom, there's a whole anxiety provoking experience try to get in, right? So by the time they get in there, they're all wound up. Plus they're nervous and scared because they don't know what to expect. So we need to get them out of here and get them into their hearts immediately.
Yeah.
So that's why we do the emotional check-in. And we show, sometimes it's hard. If we just got someone on the screen and said, okay, tell us how you're feeling. And a lot of times we get well, I think, and we're like, no. So what we do is we show them faces.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of different expressions.
Yeah.
Then we have a list of words so that, and sometimes for me, I don't know, even for me personally, I don't know how I'm feeling when we get in. I don't know what's going on because I've had a whole, when running errands and doing your whole day, and then you get in, it even helps me to be like, okay, what am I? And you go and you're able to look through the faces and you connect immediately.
Yeah.
Like a magnet. You just drawn to it. And you're able to then just say, that's it. It looks a little like frustration. I was just at the grocery store and they didn't have any of the items that I needed. And I need to cook this dinner and da 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 da. And it just starts flowing out of you. It's almost like you can't even help it. And before you know it, you're like, oh my God, that was real. And I love it. I love the emotional check-in, even for me, because it helps me to get emotionally grounded.
Exactly. Some of the other things, Erica, that you and I do is we take the emotion to the next level. So we say, we'll ask them, what are you feeling? And if they can really come up with that emotion, especially even off of that list of 5. So I'm feeling sad. Okay. Okay, friend. Sit in the sad. Tell me where you feel the sad in your body. And, sometimes they throw us for a loop. We expect sad to be in your heart. And they'll
Yeah.
say, I feel it in my face, or I feel it in my back. I feel it all over my body, or I feel it in my shoulders. We want you to start paying attention to where you're feeling that sad. Okay, you feel it in your shoulders. Is it fast or is it slow? Emotions have a speed.
Mhm.
What color is it? Emotions have a color. Is it hard or is it soft? And the more descriptive we can get with what that emotion is, they can start becoming accustomed to it, and they can start to become accustomed with describing it, feeling it, and allowing it, which allowing it is a whole podcast in itself. So I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. But just helping them becoming familiar as grievers with what that emotion is. It is the missing link for our society.
It absolutely is.
Missing link.
It absolutely is. I think if we spoke more in emotion, we would have more compassion for people.
Yeah.
We would, you know, try to put ourselves in their situation instead of just sitting in judgment
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that um, it's something they should start teaching in preschool, like
Yeah.
really teaching and allowing, not just teaching, because they do have those. I've been in a lot of different classrooms, and they do have, the feeling words up. So they teach it, but they gotta allow
Yeah.
the students to feel it.
Yeah. I agree.
Because what I feel I've witnessed is they teach the words, and then the minute little Johnny says, "Well, I'm mad." Well, okay, well, don't be mad. Come on, let's not do this. Wait a minute.
Are you a big boy or a baby? Are you a big boy or a baby?
Right? You need to get over mad. We got stuff to do. Come on.
We got stuff to do. I mean, could you imagine walking up to a griever,
Yeah.
a raw griever, and telling them that? If I had to walk up to you and be like, okay, Erica, it's time for you to get over this.
Yeah.
That's so intellectual. That's so in your brain. Friends, this is a learned response. You have to learn how to do this. You have to learn how to go from the circumstance, which in most cases is the worst experience ever,
Yeah.
to your thoughts, your 40,000 thoughts about that circumstance, and then to your emotions. What's going on in those emotions? What's happening in those emotions? In those emotions, in that whisper is where the grief is. And that's what we help you with.
Yeah. And it is amazing. It's an amazing process. I mean, I'm always taken aback when I watch someone do that full process when you're asking about what color and everything, because you could see there's such a connection. It's like they put a glove on and it's the perfect fit for them. And their whole body changes.
Yeah.
There's a physical response to it. So we definitely need to teach this more.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, friends, for allowing us in. Absolutely. If you are stuck in your thoughts and you can't figure out a way out, I want to say this. You have Erica and I every Saturday. We put our podcast up every Saturday. But if you want to have access to us every day, join our Facebook group. We're in there. We're talking to our friends. We're talking grief. We're elaborating on this. We're doing Facebook Lives in there. Join the Facebook group. It's a great place to have access to Erica and I every single day.
It really is. And the most important thing is you realize you're not alone.
Yeah. It's a group of women who are grieving and we're supporting each other.
Yeah.
Bye, friends.
Bye, friends. Thank you.